After studying what makes character conversations addictive, I discovered this. The most compelling dialogue works on 5 invisible layers simultaneously. In this video, I'll break down each layer with before and after that you can apply into fantasy, romance, thriller, literary fiction, and YA. You can apply it to your manuscript, basically. Let me show you how to transform your dialogue from flat to addictive, starting with the most common mistake. The biggest dialogue killer is what I call on-the-nose conversations, where characters say exactly what they mean. It's the number one reason readers struggle to connect with otherwise good stories. Here's an example from an early draft of mine. "I'm really angry that you lied to me," Sarah said. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you," John replied. "Well, you did hurt me. I don't know if I can trust you again. Please, give me another chance. I won't lie to you again." Notice what's happening? The characters are stating their emotions directly. I'm angry, I'm sorry, I'm hurt. This creates what writing teachers call cardboard dialogue. It communicates information but feels artificial. After applying layer 1 improvements, hear how it transformed. "You looked me in the eye and lied," Sarah said. "That's not exactly. 3 times, John, I counted. I never meant for this to happen." The difference? This version still communicates the essential information but through specific concrete details rather than generic statements. Notice how "I'm really angry that you lied" becomes "you looked me in the eye and lied." Here's how to instantly improve your dialogue's first layer. First is identify what essential information needs to be communicated. Second is cut any direct statements of emotion like "I'm angry." Third is replace generic statements with specific, concrete details. Fourth, keep exchanges brief and punchy. The transformation is massive across all genres. In fantasy, instead of "I fear the dragon's power," try "the ground trembles when it breathes." In romance, replace "I'm attracted to you" with "I can't seem to look away when you enter a room." In thriller, transform "I'm suspicious of him" to "he checks his watch every time the phone rings." But surface communication is just the first layer. Your dialogue becomes truly addictive when you add the second layer. So, when I was studying the most compelling dialogue in fiction, I found something surprising about layer 2. It's the element that most consistently creates what writers call page-turning quality. Here's why. The second layer missing from most dialogue is subtext. What characters are really saying beneath their words. This is where the emotional power of your story lives. Let's see our example with layer 2 added. Sarah arranged the broken pieces of the mug on the counter. "You looked me in the eye and lied." That's not exactly. 3 times, John. I counted. He reached for her hand, then stopped himself. "I never meant for this to happen." You never do. She swept the ceramic shards into the trash. Maybe that's the problem. See what happened? We added 3 powerful subtext elements. The first one is the symbolic broken mug, representing their broken trust. Second one is the unfinished gesture of reaching for her hand, showing his hesitation. Third, the loaded statements. "You never do," and "maybe that's the problem," implying a history of similar behavior. This creates what psychologists call cognitive engagement. This is when readers must actively interpret meaning rather than passively receiving it. Basically, this engagement is addictive to the human brain. Many writing instructors consider subtext one of the clearest indicators of professional level writing. Here's how to add subtext layer to your dialogue. First one is identify what your character is really thinking but not saying directly. Second is create symbolic actions or objects that reflect the emotional state. Third, use brief responses that have double meanings. And fourth, leave certain thoughts unfinished, letting readers fill in the gaps. But subtext alone isn't enough. For truly addictive dialogue, you need a third layer. Even with great subtext, your dialogue might still not feel fully alive. The third layer is what gives each character a unique, memorable presence on the page. The third layer that transforms dialogue is distinct character voice. When reviewing my early writing, I realized all my characters sounded identical. They all sounded like me. Look at our example with layer 3 added. Sarah arranged the broken pieces of the mug on the counter. You looked me in the eye and lied. That's not exactly what happened. If you'd let me explain. 3 times, John, I counted. He reached for her hand, then stopped himself. The situation, it was complicated. I never meant for this to happen. You never do. She swept the ceramic shards into the trash. Maybe that's the whole damn problem. Notice the transformation. John speaks in longer hedging sentences with qualifiers like, that's not exactly, if you'd let me, it was complicated, while Sarah speaks in short, direct statements with emotional punctuation. Their voices now reflect their distinct personalities. John is analytical and conflict avoidant. Sarah is direct and emotionally expressive. This distinction creates what neuroscientists call character recognition patterns in readers' brains. They begin to anticipate how each character will speak, making the story feel alive. To develop layer 3 in your dialogue, first is to create a voice template for each major character with their typical sentence length. Is it short, medium, or long? Their pet phrases or expressions, their word choice level, like simple versus complex, and then speech patterns. Are they direct, hesitant, or circular? Second one is review each line of dialogue and ask, could any other character have said this? If yes, revise until it's unique to that character. Here's the real secret. Readers unconsciously use dialogue as the primary way to distinguish characters. When you implement distinct voice patterns, readers are much more likely to feel like they know your characters as real people. But even with great character voices, your dialogue will fall flat without layer 4. Many writers create dialogue with great subtext and distinct voices, but still miss the critical element that keeps readers engaged. Layer 4 is what prevents readers from skimming even the longest conversation scenes. The fourth layer missing from most dialogue is what I call action advancement. Basically, every conversation needs to change something in your story. In many drafts, writers create what writing teachers call coffee conversations. They're characters talking while nothing actually happens or changes in the story. Let's see our example with layer 4 added. Sarah arranged the broken pieces of the mug on the counter. You looked me in the eye and lied. That's not exactly what happened. If you'd let me explain. 3 times, John, I counted. She reached for her suitcase by the door. He stepped between her and the exit. The situation, it was complicated. I never meant for this to happen. You never do. She swept the ceramic shards into the trash. Maybe that's the whole damn problem. She grabbed her car keys. I'll be at Lisa's. Now the scene has forward momentum. The conversation isn't happening in a static bubble. It's driving action. Sarah is preparing to leave, creating stakes. John physically blocks her path, escalating the conflict. When studying the most engaging dialogue scenes in fiction, I found they all share this quality. The conversation physically moves through space while emotionally advancing the plot. Now, to improve your dialogue's fourth layer, first is identify what needs to change by the end of the conversation. Second, ensure characters take physical actions that either move them forward to their goal, create new obstacles, or reveal new information. Third, end the dialogue exchange at a different state than where it began. This works in any genre. In fantasy, characters might discuss strategy while navigating a dangerous territory. In romance, a pivotal conversation happens while the characters are forced to share close physical space. But there's still one more layer that brings dialogue to life. Now, I want to be clear about something important. These techniques aren't just theory, they are practical tools used by professional writers across all genres. When studying the craft of dialogue, I've found that the difference between amateur and professional writing isn't talent, it's technique. And the final layer is perhaps the most powerful technique of all. The final and most powerful layer is emotional authenticity. Without it, dialogue feels mechanical, even with the other 4 layers. Here's the complete version with all 5 layers. Sarah arranged the broken pieces of the mug on the counter, her hands trembling slightly. You looked me in the eye and lied. That's not exactly what happened. If you just... John's voice cracked. 3 times, John. I counted. She reached for her suitcase by the door, blinking rapidly. He stepped between her and the exit, shoulders slumped. The situation, it was complicated. I never meant for this to happen. You never do. She swept the ceramic shards into the trash with a violent motion, then paused, her fingers widening around the dustpan handle. Maybe that's the whole damn problem. Her voice softened as she grabbed her car keys. I'll be at Lisa's. He swallowed hard. For how long? The question hung in the air for 5 heartbeats before she answered. I don't know. The emotional authenticity transforms this exchange through. First one is the physical manifestations of emotion. The trembling hands, the voice cracking, the blinking rapidly. Then there's the emotional journeys within the scene. Sarah's anger shifting to vulnerability, John's defensiveness to fear. Then there's the moments of silence and hesitation that creates authentic tension. And finally, subtle shifts in tone that reflect emotional complexity. This 5th layer engages what neuroscientists call mirror neurons, the parts of our brain that allow us to feel what others are feeling. When readers encounter emotionally authentic dialogue, they experience the conversation as if they were in the room. To add emotional authenticity to your dialogue, first is identify the primary emotion each character brings into the scene. Second, determine how that emotion evolves during the conversation. Third, add physical manifestation of emotion beyond the obvious. Fourth, include meaningful silences and reactions to each other's words. Study after study shows that emotional connection is what makes readers invest in stories. This final layer is what makes the difference between dialogue that simply functions and dialogue that resonates long after the book is closed. Let me show you a practical way to implement all 5 layers in your current manuscript. I call it the rainbow revision method. I want you to take any dialogue scene and highlight yellow first for layer 1. These are surface information that's specific and concrete. Second is green. These are lines containing subtext or double meanings. Third is blue, character-specific voices and patterns. Fourth is pink, actions that move the story forward. And finally, we have purple, the authentic emotional manifestations, which is layer 5. This instantly reveals which layers are missing from your dialogue. Most early drafts show primarily yellow, while polished, compelling dialogue shows all 5 colors in balanced proportion. I've created a downloadable rainbow revision worksheet with examples in 5 different genres that you can apply directly to your manuscript. The link is in the description. These 5 layers aren't just theoretical concepts, they're practical tools used by writers at all levels to transform their dialogue. When applied systematically, they can help elevate any manuscript. What makes this approach so powerful is that it addresses the most common reasons readers disconnect from stories. It addresses generic on-the-nose conversations, the lack of deeper meaning below the surface, the characters who all sound the same, the static scenes that don't advance the story, and the emotional flatness that fails to engage. By addressing all 5 layers, you're not just improving your dialogue, you're transforming the entire reading experience. I've created a comprehensive 5-layer dialogue blueprint with step-by-step implementation guide for all 5 layers, before and after examples in 5 different genres, color coding templates for your manuscript revision, and common dialogue problems and their solutions. To download it, click the link in the description. I'd also love to hear which dialogue layer you think your manuscript needs most. Let me know in the comments and I'll try to give you specific advice for your genre. I'll try my best. In the next video, I'll reveal the 3 character types readers never forget and how you can create them in just 5 minutes each. This technique transformed my protagonist from forgettable to fascinating. But first, I'm curious, which dialogue layer do you struggle with most in your writing? Let me know in the comments.